Good morning, everyone. Good to see you guys. It is April, and it's time for another Q&A. So let's just jump into it. I've got quite a few questions today, so that's good. All right, so first one, Ricardo Delgado. I'm interested in learning what I will need to sell my business in the future. I want to know what to have to do when selling a business. How do you price your business, and what should I do? Should I be organizing throughout the years? I own a barbershop, and I noticed that some people in my industry who need to exit eventually close their businesses. I'm looking to avoid doing this and sell the business versus have to close it down. By asking questions, I can start doing what's necessary to be able to sell it when I need or want to. Thank you. Ricardo, you're totally on the right track. Every person should be thinking about selling their business. Whether you're planning on selling it today, tomorrow, or sometime in the future, you should always be building a business as if you are ready to sell it. So the first thing I would suggest is most of the time why small businesses end up closing and not selling is because they're not transferable from the owner to anyone else. So if your business is completely dependent on you and you do everything, or that you're so intricately involved that it would be impossible to have anyone, or not very easily have anyone, step into your role, then your business really has no value and is not really going to be sellable. So prepping for and keeping that in mind, you really want to make a business that somebody wants to own, and most of the time people don't want to buy a job. So that's worth thinking about. So that's the first thing. Make sure your business is structured so that you can actually have it run. Second, if you just want to kind of know in terms of general multiples and things like that, small businesses that are EBITDA of a few $100,000, if they're pretty well managed, like it's not 100% reliant on you and it's sellable at all, you probably are going to get a 2 to 3 times EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation. That's probably the right number. Keep in mind that a lot of times what people do is they say 2 to 3 times, and they add up all of their income and all of their cash flow and all their perks and all the stuff that's in the business and say, okay, I'm going to take that and multiply it 2 to 3 times. That only works if you truly have a manager, and that all of that stuff truly will not be expenses to the new person, right? A lot of times what people try to do is they add up their income, but they're the manager, the salesperson, and the cook. Well, the new person has to pay for those roles, even though you've been just kind of absorbing those costs as your income. So so again, structure is what makes a business valuable. So thinking in those terms is the way to go. And of course, one last thing, clean books. If you really want to do all kinds of funny shenanigans as far as taxes and stuff go, that's great. Just know that when you go to explain all that stuff to a buyer, that's definitely going to lower your value of your business. I've had businesses that I've gone to look at to buy where they've said one thing, hey, this is how much money it makes, but all of their documents say something else. So the way I look at that is, well, I'm going to go off of what your documents to say, what you reported to the tax man, because I have to assume that that's true, right? And if for some reason that isn't true, and it's something better than that, then that means you made some advantage on your wonky tax shenanigans. So you took your value out of your business already in tax savings. So I'm only going to pay you based on what you actually reported. So everyone else thinks about it that way too, for the most part. So so having good, clean books and doing things properly is important. Okay, next question. Kimberly Benjamin, how much should you start off paying your personal assistant? Recently, I've realized the necessity of having a personal assistant to aid me in submitting applications while I focus on sales. Given the nature of my work, clients might face rejections from one company, prompting me to apply to various others on their behalf. This process consumes a significant amount of time, so I've decided to hire someone to streamline it. My role would primarily involve reviewing the applications to ensure accuracy. However, I'm uncertain about the appropriate compensation for this role, especially since it's my first time hiring someone. While I have a clear idea of the tasks involved in the insurance business, I'm unsure if the proposed payment of $1,500 per month is adequate or excessive. Ideally, I aim to increase the monthly compensation to $2,500 to $3,500 as I become more comfortable with the arrangement. I've communicated to the assistant that reaching a monthly application count of 60 to 80 would justify this increase in payment. Any advice on navigating this process would be greatly appreciated. Well, I think you actually gave all the numbers that kind of give the answer inside there, right? Would justify the increase in this payment. So if you're targeting 3,500 is as like the go-to number, and you're going to divide that by 80. So 80 goes into 3,500. Let's see how many times. 5 times gets you to 4,000. So like roughly 4 times, right, would be 32. So so basically, what is that? $45 per application, I guess, is what that comes out to, if I did my math right. That would be the question. If you're comfortable with $45 per application as a cost to administer it, I would think about that in terms of hours. Okay, how long is that person going to actually be operating on it? Is it an hour job? Is it a 2-hour job? Is it a 3-hour job? Is it a 15-minute job? Are you happy with paying $45 for that service? That would determine, what that value is. So if you're paying $1,500 per month, to answer the question, is it adequate or excessive? I guess based on that target of $45, what are you doing now in terms of volume to divide that $1,500 over? And I know that it might be a little bit more expensive. Of course, the 45 might be the end state, and the current state, the startup state, will be more expensive than that. But that's how I would look at it. I would break it down by cost per activity, since it sounds like this is a activity-focused role and you know exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, let me know how that goes. Jennifer Southall, do you use an attorney for creating legal documents in the beginning, or is it okay to use some of these online services or templates I can find online? I recently purchased an art gallery company that provides consignment art, and I also do weekly instructional art classes and weekend workshops, along with on and off-site paint and sip parties at homes, restaurants, wineries, and other places. I'm asking because I purchased this business under the impression that documents and stuff were in place, only to find out it was all intertwined with the owner's personal life and not really professional at all. So yeah, I mean, look, here's the thing with contracts. You only need a contract if things go bad, right? And then you need to sue somebody, or they're going to sue you, or you need to really deal with something. So you have to manage your kind of risk reward. So you have to look at what potential liability, what are your potential losses based on not having good contracts. So can you get away with just some sort of templated thing that you find online? I don't know exactly what your contracts are that you're talking about here, but my guess would be probably yes in the short term. If you're worried about the cost, or if the, I would ask the question, what's the worst that's going to happen? Maybe people have to put a deposit down to book time, and then they don't show up, and then they don't pay you the rest of it, and then therefore you don't collect the rest of it, even though they booked out the space, and that cost you money. Okay, I mean, what are you going to do? Sue them over whatever that number is? Probably not. So how sophisticated of a contract do you really need? But I might be oversimplifying. Again, I'm not a lawyer, but that's kind of the way I would look at it. If the potential loss is less than some amount of times greater than what it would cost you to produce a really solid contract that you're going to sue over, and you're going to go to court and you're going to fight it out and win, then I would probably use very simple contracts. Now, when it comes to liability on the other side, hold harmless and all that sort of stuff, that might be liability that you're telling your people, your customers, or whoever's signing the contract, that waiver that they're not going to sue you, and maybe that's something you should have somebody look at. But it would depend on each individual circumstance, I think. Aaron Hudson, how to reach and appeal to cash-rich, time-poor potential customers. I've developed a pioneering DNA testing service that provides comprehensive insights into an individual's genetic blueprint. This enables us to offer tailored advice on exercise regimes, dietary plans, supplemental intake, and lifestyle adjustments for healthier, happier, and stronger life. Building on this, we provide personalized fitness consultancy and coaching services. Whether the goal is weight loss, fitness improvement, muscle gain, or any other fitness aspiration, Our monthly programs are designed to meet these diverse needs. Our service is particularly suited to professionals with busy schedules or individuals keen on leveraging their genetic predispositions to achieve their fitness goals more efficiently. However, I find myself at a crossroads in identifying and engaging with this target audience effectively. Previously, I engaged in an agency to implement targeted Facebook, Instagram advertising campaigns, complemented by a sales funnel page and dedicated sales calls for lead to conversion. Despite our efforts in refining the strategy, the campaign didn't yield their desired results, leading to its discontinuation after 4 months. This experience has prompted me to reconsider the efficacy of Meta as a marketing platform and to explore other avenues like LinkedIn, which might align better with our target demographic. Moreover, it's led me to question the viability of the concept itself. Given the complexity of reaching and appealing to the intended audience, I'm eager for your insights, although I'm aware of the broad nature of my question. Aaron, yes, absolutely. So you've touched on a bunch of things. So the cost of marketing should be built into your product's price, right, or your service's price. And in this particular case, when you're asking about the viability of the service in general, yeah, that's a great question. Like, you know, you can have a great service and a great product, but if people won't pay the cost plus your profit plus the cost to market, right? Like however you reach that audience, if you can't figure that equation out, then you've got to then you know that it's not a viable thing, right? Now, we don't have to jump that far ahead yet, because I've also had lots of things that have been super, super successful that have never succeeded with digital marketing the way you just described it. I've had lots of things that work, and that model just doesn't work many times for lots of different really good things. So I guess my question would be, what was the question? Reach and appeal to cash-rich, time-poor potential customers. I don't know how much volume you've already sold of this product or how much you've kind of gone through everything, but frankly, I'm an in-person person to start, right? Make those connections with people in real life. Where do those people hang out that are your target demographic, that aren't there to buy anything, but are just there to hang out and be friendly and like connect with people, and tell them what you do. Don't try to sell them anything. Just tell them what you do, and then let them, you know, if you're in the right room, they'll ask you about it, and then they will ask to move down the funnel. I think that's a good place to start, and then you can figure out how to digitize and scale that once you really are clear on the value proposition to your customer and that you're talking to their exact right demographic. I think your best shot at a sale in any business is face-to-face versus the kind of once you abstract to online, things get a lot more complicated, especially in something like this. I think where you probably want to have some amount of interaction, at least at the start, to figure out what that looks like. All right, next question. Jamie Smith. This is a broad question I would love your advice on as an experienced business person. I am new to AO. What are the top things I can do to get a jump start on getting my business and overall life better? I am a baker and licensed massage therapist, so I love both and want to build them. I'm currently pregnant and due in May, so I'm kind of feeling in limbo right now, but I'm ready to change my life and future to what I want to be. Okay, cool. Jumpstart and getting my business and overall life better. I guess what I would say is it sounds like you got a lot going on. So for me, I generally find that my life is better when I have less going on. But maybe that's just me. Other people might disagree with that. Sometimes I think when people are trying to move forward or, whatever you want to say, make their life better, they have a tendency to work harder. And I think sometimes the answer is to work less hard. Stop and give yourself a break and think and relax and be bored, right? Being bored is okay. In fact, it's a good thing. Try to organize yourself in such a way that there is an opportunity to be bored and to think about things that just pop into your head, not because you're overwhelmed with 3 or 4 or 5 different projects or things that you're working on. So that, I think that would be my initial response to that. Less is more. Sometimes you need to focus. Sometimes you need to let go of the things that are that appear to be your, like we all like a lot of different things, and sometimes you have to let some of the things you like go so you can focus on the things that are going to be more forward moving and whatever that means to you. Yeah, it's a good general question, though. I like that. Kimberly Benjamin. How much time should I spend training my new personal assistant? I hired her a week ago and I'm excited to get back to work to cover her salary comfortably, but she's struggling with some tasks like filling out contracts properly. I spent the past week going over everything with her, but I want to know how to make it easier for her to understand. It seems simple to me, but I want to avoid spending too much time training her if I can't focus on making money. Any advice on how to help her learn faster? The general rule of thumb, and this might be a little bit broad, but the general rule of thumb is that for every 1 hour of your time that you give up to someone else, you will spend up to 40 hours of time training that person or preparing the information to convey to them, right? So if you haven't put 40 hours in yet in training, then you're probably still under the bar. If it starts going over 40 hours, maybe you've got the wrong person who just can't comprehend it for some reason, or there's something majorly wrong with the way you train. So I would say be comfortable with the idea of training. Now, if they're just not getting these tasks, one thing I would suggest, everybody learns differently, right? Some people are audio, some people are visual. So what I like to do for training is, especially like something that they're doing on the computer, which I assume they are, saying you're filling out contracts. I would say, make a Loom videos or repeatable things that they can watch that shows them how to do it, so that when they need to review again, they can easily review without having to ask you to come and tell them the same thing again. So having all that documentation in place so that they can kind of lead themselves through the training process and reflect back when they need to, that's probably a good place to start, because then they can put the time in without you. Kimberly Benjamin again. How do I handle a team member not following processes I create for them? I recently hired my first assistant and observed that she's most productive when I'm present. However, when I'm not around, she doesn't follow simple instructions like texting me upon completing tasks from the to-do list. Be a good boss, but I also want things done the way I want. What do I do when she won't follow processes? In the most extreme case, then she's not the right person, right? If you've given her specific processes and specific tasks, and you've kind of told her the way you want to do things, she needs to do it, because that's what you told her and you asked for her to do. I assume you set up those processes because there was some sort of logic behind it. Now, when I set up processes, I always tell people, look, the default is the process. You can't just randomly not do the process. But if you want to tell me why the process is wrong and how to make it better or more efficient, and then we will do that, that's fine too. But it has to be a conscious decision. If you're not making a conscious decision to change the process, then you have to do the process. So maybe that's what I would do. Maybe in this particular case, I would suggest that. Maybe have that conversation, say, look, in these scenarios you do it, in these scenarios you don't. Why is that happening? And then we can talk about it if the process doesn't work. But if you don't have a really good reason on why we should change it, then you need to do the process. Jeff Treader. How do I balance the lowering of my personal income when hiring my first team member? It's definitely a mindset change for me. I have concerns about changing my personal pay. Right now, all the money made is mine, and I don't really separate it. I haven't always been used to a high income, but last year was my largest year with a gross of $220 and a net of around $180. I love the life. I provide my family, but I'm losing more and more hours at home. What's the best way to prepare for the change? My business is a home inspection company. I am solo preparing for my first hires this year. Thank you. All right, Jeff. So you are going through the same process that happens to every entrepreneur. We start a business, we start to make money, because we're doing everything ourselves, we wear all the hats. Now, each time you take a hat off, you got to pay somebody else to wear that hat. And each time you take that hat off and pay somebody, that comes out of your pocket because you were keeping all the money before, as you've described. So this is not uncommon. I think the trick is, your question says, how do I balance the lowering of my personal income and hiring my first team members? You're not lowering your personal income, you're buying back your time, right? So you're electing to, instead of buying a $3,000 vacation, you're electing to buy $3,000 of free time, because this person is going to take that time and now, go do that time for $3,000. Now you're going to go do something else, theoretically, that is either greater than $3,000, or maybe you just bought yourself some free time so you can spend more time with your family or whatever you want to do. That's fine too. But that's the way you're looking at it. You're not lowering your income, you're buying more time. Now the question is, what are you going to do with that time to grow the business so that your income then will be higher than it was before you invested the $3,000? I guarantee that you will make more money ultimately by having more of your own time to spend on more activities that are broader and produce higher value than just doing whatever these day-to-day tasks are that you're going to start to hand off to other people. So that's the mindset, I think, is the idea that you're not lowering your income, you are buying more of your own time. Now, what do you do with it? Kelly Killingsworth. What is the process to acquiring a business partner, and when is the right time to bring a business partner? Kelly & Company Construction LLC is a licensed general engineering company in Northern California. We have certifications that put us at the top of the list for some government and state projects. We became licensed and certified at the end of 2022. We mainly take care of excavation, pipe laying, demolition, site prep, and trucking for the dirt world. Lately, I've been wondering where we need to be in order to attract an interested business partner or partners, and what the process is like. All I know is that I would need to be a 51% owner in order to keep the certified disabled veteran business enterprise and disadvantaged business enterprise. Thank you, mentors, for your time. I would ask why you want a partner. Like, what is the partner? First off, what do you get out of having a partner? Why would you have a partner? What do they bring to the table? And that doesn't necessarily just mean money. You can do that with or without money. Some people bring on partners lots of times, not for money, but for some other value that they bring. So that would be the first thing that I would ask. Be clear on that. Be very clear on what you actually want out of them. And then I guess secondarily, once you know that, now you know who to talk. Now you start talking to people to find out who can provide whatever it is that you're looking for in that partnership. And then I think third thing is, when you start to identify candidates, match on culture first. A lot of times partnerships fail for usually two reasons. One, people don't know what they don't have clear expectations of each other, and then one or both do not fit those expectations. And two, there's not a culture fit between the partners. Like they're just not on the same page as what they're doing, what they're trying to accomplish, what they want out of life, all these different things. So being clear on what everyone's supposed to be doing, and then the fact that they're actually a good culture fit, usually your odds of success go way up in those two scenarios if you can do those two things well. So be clear. All right, that is it. I think I've got all of these. Let's see, did I get all these done? Yep. All right, everybody. Great to see you. We'll see you next month from New York.